Welcome to a review of Gintama Chapter 578, Frog in a Well. My name is Colton, and I am usually the host of Life Lessons, the Gintama Manga Cast. I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry that this review is kind of late. Between work on Monday, and then I had to also work on Tuesday and record an episode of Life Lessons, so I'm finally just now getting around to recording this. Hopefully I'll be a little more punctual with the next review, and I hopefully won't have to, cover another coworker's shift on Monday. I mean, yeah, sure, I'm gonna get more money for my paycheck that next week, but God, that really sucked working a 9-hour shift on a Monday night. Not a lot to do on a Monday night at a pizza place. So anyway, I did read this chapter at work actually, but I hadn't gotten the chance to actually record the review until now, so I've kind of had a little time to kind of stew about it, which I think is a good thing, even though it's kind of late, but, anyway, so, if you are listening to this on the podcast feed, please go to youtube.com/GintamangAcast if you want to if you'd rather watch listen to my reviews there. Or if you are listening to this on YouTube, please visit gintalifelessons.wordpress.com if you are interested in a more retrospective review of the Gintama manga. So anyway, with that out of the way, no matter where you're listening to this, if you are not caught up on the manga, if you have not read Chapter 578, please do not listen to this, because I will be spoiling a lot out of you. There is a lot going on with this chapter, so there you go. You have been warned. So, on with the chapter. Chapter 578, Frog in a Well. There's a lot to go over this chapter, actually. A lot of backstory stuff, kind of. So, let's start with the chapter title, actually. This is usually the kind of thing I do on Life Lessons, where I'll take the chapter title and I will discuss what it means for the chapter, what it means about the series overall, or I guess how it relates to the series, I should say. Frog in a Well is kind of a Japanese idiom. I'm assuming a very well-known one, which basically is a I guess what do you call it? An expression, describing someone who is very ignorant of the world, essentially. Which is if you've read One Piece, you're probably somewhat familiar with this idiom, because it is used once or twice in that series as well, which, I don't know, I think Frog in a Well is a great way to describe, a person who doesn't really know anything of the outside world from their, I guess from their point of view, I guess, like say I don't know, let's just say I live with my parents for like 50 years of my life, and I never go outside, so something, I don't know, like, I tried to come up with a way to describe it, but I'm probably not doing a very good job, because, the internet exists, so it's kind of hard for people to stay ignorant unless they just don't have the internet. But I still think it's a very interesting idiom. I don't know, something about it, I just find it very, not expressive, but, it's a great expression. I just like it. And it's used in this chapter, I think, very well, because Umibozu talks about how, like, people call him, like, the strongest in the universe and all that, when really, they only say that because, Umibozu is, sure, he's probably the strongest person that they've come across, but that doesn't mean he's the strongest in the universe. That just means he's the strongest he's the strongest of their world, like, as far as they know. Like, they could always come across somebody stronger if they, travel the world more or meet more people or whatever. And Umibozu actually kind of makes a callback to Hosen, who, for those of you who don't remember, was the villain of the Yoshiwara arc way back when. And he talks about how like out of like all of his travels and all the people he's fought with, he's probably the person who is like he's probably the only person who's just as strong as he was. Yeah, so again, I like the way this idiom is used for this chapter and how it describes Umibozu's travels. We also find out some bombshells here in like the first 2 pages. Umibozu is or was he was Mutsu's master, and apparently Mutsu's the father's old friend. Yeah, so Mutsu and Umibozu know each other. I did not see that coming, but that's such a cool like world building thing. That's cool. I guess it's just cool to see Mutsu again. Let's see what else here. So we also find out Umibozu's real name is Kanko, which apparently the kanji used to make up that name is made out of the kanji for God. I'm assuming kami, and the kanji meaning clear, bright, or dazzling. Which he's not really. While he's talking to Mutsu, he still has all of his hair, so I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a reference to his bald head, because he's not really bald at that point. So I'm not really sure what that could be referring to. I know Sirachi actually explained. I guess kind of like revealed his name, revealed Umibozu's real name back in volume 57 when that was released last year. So for people who have like kept up with the manga volume by volume, they kind of knew this already. So it's not really a big reveal, but it's still like a nice like, it still adds to like the lore of Gintama, which I think is always interesting. Still can't get over how Umibozu and Mutsu know each other. That is so cool. And like we learned so much about Umibozu this chapter, and kind of like how he became known as like the strongest in the universe. And I like the way that this is told, because it's not just like a flashback, but it's the story is told through. I mean, it is sort of expository. It's sort of an info dump, but it's not completely. Like it's like the way the story is told. Umibozu is essentially just talking with Mutsu about his travels and his past his past fights and all of that stuff, because at this point Mutsu hasn't really been picked up by Sakamoto yet. She's still attached to the Chidori Space Pirates. So she hasn't really she hasn't gotten the chance to see the world herself yet. So she kind of depends on Umibozu to kind of tell her about what the world is like and what space is like, and about his travels and his many adventures, which I think is a great way to tell Umibozu's I guess past story, I guess his origin story of how he became known as the strongest. So we find out this chapter that apparently the Yato homeworld, Koan, was attacked by basically some kind of League of Planets or something. It was attacked. It was in the middle of war. And then the Altina of that planet, the energy, I guess, of that planet started leaking and started causing the planet to mutate along with its inhabitants, which at first I think I saw a post on the Gintama subreddit about like how maybe that could explain why the Yato are so strong and whatever, but I don't think maybe like I feel like that's not where the Yato's super strength comes from so much as their ability to regenerate, which is something that this particular Reddit user also pointed out, because I completely forgot in chapter 3 of the manga that there was a scene where I think it was after Gin and Shinpachi like ran over Kagura and like picked her up and she was being chased by those Yakuza guys, and she kind of got shot in the arm once, and she pointed out how like her bullet wound had already closed up and stuff. So Sriracha being like an unexpectedly very good, unexpectedly very good at like foreshadowing some of these like really small details that end up mattering like hundreds and hundreds of chapters down the line. Sriracha as a writer kind of baffles me sometimes. I will admit. Sometimes he's a really careful. Sometimes he's a. I don't know. I feel like sometimes his writing is like his good writing can be kind of coincidental. Like, oh, I'm just gonna put this here. Oh wait, I can use that. I mean, that's not to say he's not a good writer, but you know, sometimes sometimes things just kind of happen to work, which I think is very Sriracha-like of him. But yeah, so we'll get back to the regenerative abilities in a little bit. And so we also find out that the parasite of that planet, the Orochi, which in Japanese mythology is supposed to be this creature, this very like snake-like creature with like 8 heads. But apparently Sriracha didn't think 8 heads was enough. He had to give it like 100 heads. So he had 108 heads, and it basically like devoured the Altena energy supply of that planet. And that's when Umibozu, a young, very wild-looking Umibozu, came to defeat the Orochi, and from there became known as a hero. Sorry, my phone had to just go off. I'm not gonna... Wow, really? Okay. I'm gonna turn my phone off. Okay, I'm just not gonna edit that out. So... So yeah, basically an Orochi is just... is a creature in Japanese mythology with 8 heads. Again, Sriracha didn't think that was enough, so he gave him 108 heads. And that's when Umibozu came to defeat it, and he became known as a hero, yada yada yada. But in actuality, he lost a drinking contest, and so he had to go pick up chicks on a very barren planet. So I really like how Umibozu isn't actually a hero. He just wanted to pick up chicks. That is really amazing. What's even more amazing is that apparently, while fighting the Orochi, that was the first time that he experienced fear by way of his genitals. The genes in his body were literally telling him to make some kids before he died, both in the past and apparently during his fight with Utsuro. Because we kind of go back and forth between the past and the present, while in this chapter, and I guess it was so weird. I didn't know how to feel about him getting an erection during a fight, because it's like I don't know. It was weird because I took that as, oh, does he get off on fighting? Or, I mean, sure. Hey, I mean, you do you, man. But I'm not judging. It just kind of caught me by surprise. But you know, like I said, that was supposed to be his genes telling him to basically spread his seed before he died. You know, leave some kind of legacy because he's going to die. But you know, he basically told his body to shut up, and that they should get back to the fight. Because apparently that's also happening with Utsuro now as well, which I think is sort of a big deal in and of itself, you know, because that really says something when, like, you know, the only time Umibozu has ever been scared was fighting against, like, 108 snakeheads. And I guess apparently Utsuro is just as scary as that, which, I mean, he's a very intimidating guy, I will admit. I couldn't imagine fighting him. I would probably die because I don't know how to fight at all. So he would kill me in an instant. But yeah, so let's see what else happened. So I guess I think one of my favorite parts of the chapter is where Umibozu punches Utsuro's sword arm off. That was kind of neat. That was so cool. But then, you know, Utsuro's arm, like, heals, and Umibozu points out that that he has the same Altena healing ability as Umibozu's wife. And then that's when we find out that Umibozu met his wife on the planet in which he fought the Orochi, like literally after he had defeated the Orochi was when he met his wife. So that was a pretty big bombshell. So I'm not sure if maybe we were privy to this beforehand, but I guess it makes sense that that Utsuro has Altena in him because he was the leader of the Tendoshu and all that stuff. So he probably gained some of Earth's Altena while he was the leader. So if the Altena if this Altena energy thing, whatever, if it has the ability to heal Utsuro, and if it's probably the reason why he's lived for hundreds and hundreds of years, then one has to wonder how Umibozu's wife, essentially Kagura's mother, Kamui's mother, passed away, because we know at one point she got sick, so I wonder if maybe there was some kind of side effect to the Altena that that somehow caused her body to get weaker. Maybe the Yato specifically just can't handle that much power or something. I don't know. It's really weird. I feel like we need to find out more about why Utsuro is still alive and why Kagura's mother passed away. That's kind of the big question we're faced with now. But I think, I guess I'll just get into my predictions for next chapter. Hopefully we'll get an answer to that pretty soon, considering how it looks like we're finally going to get to see Kagura's mother next chapter. I really wonder what she's like, because I really never thought we'd ever get to see Kagura's mom at all. I feel like we were never going to get around to ever seeing any of the parents of any of the Odd Jobs characters, because we still don't know anything about Gintoki's lineage at all. We know Shinpachi no Tai had a father who died literally at the beginning of the series. That's kind of how the manga opened, I think, if I remember correctly. And we don't really know anything about their mother either, but I'm assuming their mother doesn't particularly matter in terms of the story, which is a shame, because I would have liked to learn more about the Shimura family. But I feel like their story's pretty much done, unfortunately. But I guess if we're going to learn about anyone's parents, I guess it makes sense that we learn about, Kagura's family, which I just said we were never going to learn about any of the Oddjob's family, except Umibozu has been a character for a while, so actually that statement was kind of dumb, but anyway, yeah, I guess with the exception of Umibozu and Shinpachi's father, I feel like we were never going to learn anything else about any of the Oddjob's family at all. So it's kind of nice that we're actually going to get to learn about Kagura's mother hopefully soon. It seems like next chapter. Also, it seems like Kamui and Kagura are kind of stuck together now. I kind of forgot to mention that. Kagura's arm looks like it's been hurt, and Kamui looks like he's kind of lost in thought, like he doesn't really know what to do now. And also, Mutsu, present Mutsu, while fighting with Sakamoto, looks like she kind of had, like it looked like her spider sense was tingling, that she could tell that Umibozu was there and that he was in trouble, maybe. Or she had some kind of weird feeling, there's been a disturbance in the force, essentially. I wonder if Kagura, Mutsu, and Kamui are all going to witness the eventual death of Umibozu, and if they're all just going to gang up on Utsuro. That would be pretty cool. That would be I feel like that would be very emotional too, because obviously Umibozu means a lot to Kagura. She's her father, or he's her father. And then Kamui's probably going to feel kind of he's not going to know how to feel because he kind of hates Umibozu, but I get the feeling that he really wants his father's acknowledgement. in terms of his strength. And obviously, now that we know Umibozu was Mutsu's master and kind of her friend, I wonder how she's gonna feel too. Probably very sad. Like, I just want to see I want to see how they react to Umibozu's death, because I feel like the three of their reactions are going to be the most important. Assuming that he dies, which I think he's going to die. Honestly, like, it's becoming clearer and clearer that that's probably what's going to happen. But anyway, yeah, packed chapter this week. A lot of stuff. So much stuff about Umibozu, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy learning about Umibozu and his past travels, and just I really want to see where this goes. Like, I really want to see what Kagura's mother's like, and I'd like to find out why Utsuro's still alive and why Kagura's mother still is, or why Kagura's mother passed away, because I want to know how the Altena works with this in particular. So yeah, I think that's about it. This has been chapter 578, and hopefully I'll see you guys earlier in the week next week for chapter 579.